World Cup champions of France kick off their World Cup campaign up against the Socceroos. Who's going to kick off to a flyer in Group D? Well, I've got Socceroos standing on the line. Talk all about that and more next. That's right, folks, back once again with another World Cup Rivals video. Today we're chatting with the Aussies, of course. They're good at rugby, they're good at cricket, sort of. But of course, so they're pretty good at kicking the football around. Of course, we'll talk about Australia's hopes and dreams entering Qatar 2022 in a second, of course. If you're new where you've been, smash your subscribe button, bam, all things Rovers related, Australia related, World Cup itself related. We're going to all hear, boys, under one Ruski, of course. Can Australia get out of the groups? That's, of course, the question on everybody's lips. Of course, we'll try and answer that in a second. A big shout out to the VIPs. They are the patrons, of course. But anyway, for my small corner of the YouTube universe, tell me your name, where you're calling from. He's a Rover as well. He's a bloody Rover as well. And, of course, give us something cool about Australia.
Okay. My name's Connor McRae. I am calling from Melbourne, down in Australia. And something cool about Australia. I don't know. I feel like I should just keep perpetuating the myth of drop bears and just like keep lying about all our dangerous animals. But I don't. I mean, you've just put me on the spot here.
Sorry. I was just to try and get a softie to get you warmed up. But of course, you do kick off your campaign against the holders in what is a difficult looking group, but. What is the hopes of a nation heading into this World Cup? But of course, what are your hopes going up against the French in the first game?
So it's actually really funny that Australia, in order to get to the World Cup, had to play Peru, and we were in a group with Denmark and France. And in 2018, our group was France, Denmark, and Peru. Wow. So we've had to play the exact same team. So we started against France last year as well, and we lost 2-1. This year, I think France have an incredible squad, especially like the strikers that are now. You just look through and you see Mbappe, Griezmann, Benzema, who's just won Ballon d'Or, Giroud, who I highly rate. Like, our defense needs to be incredible. So I really think if we get a draw, that's a brilliant result. And the World Cup overall, like, Australia got into the round of 16 in 2006. That's the best result we've ever had. And then, like, since then, it's just been participate. And I feel like this year we really want to do more than participate and go on just like a tiny cup run. We're not going to get to the final. I'm not that delusional, but just a little run.
Well, so I've just been thinking in my head because I'm based in the USA. This is off topic here a little bit. So I was driving with a colleague of mine. We were to go do a job, and I told him, "Hey, the World Cup's next week," and he was like, "Oh yeah." But they don't seem to really get as excited as the Brits or the Germans or what have you. What is it feel like for the Aussies down there? Are they excited about it? Do they give a care, or are they still licking their wounds from the Cricket World Cup?
Oh yeah, no, we are. Australia's such a difficult place for football to really grow because we have our own football and cricket that dominate the sport. Like unless it's a World Cup, it's not going to make the front page of sports. So, to qualify a World Cup, it's incredible. There's a little bit of a buzz going, but until it actually kicks off, that's when suddenly people are going to get into gear. And if we get a good result against France, like if the national team perform well, then that just allows for more people to get more behind the team.
Okay, yeah, well, it's pretty much like the United States. I said, as long as I said the women's game's different. It just seemed everyone seems to get on board with that. But with the men's game, it's just a dead, like trying to sell a dead horse sometimes to some folks. But
if you're winning, it's easier. If you're losing, that's what happens. It just gets pushed away.
But of course, as the kickoff draws ever closer, how far can these Socceroos actually go?
See, I've sort of done the scenarios in my head a bunch of times, and Tunisia is probably the team that Australia have faced maybe only once before, and we don't know that much about. So that's a result where anything could go. If we get a win there and a draw against France and Denmark, that's round of 16, and then we're playing from Group C. the first place. Like I imagine we're not going to get first place in Group D. That's a bit too high of a stretch. But I think round of 16 is a possibility. From there, it just depends who's in form, who's gotten out of the other groups, and what kind of run we can go on.
Yeah.
Because we won't go that far.
Well, there's always the World Cup jinx that could maybe put France out of it at the group stage.
That's exactly what I was thinking. That France won it last year, so they're going to completely tumble and fall. I'm just having a look. Are England and no, hang on. Group C is Mexico, Poland, Argentina, and Saudi Arabia. So then we'd be playing Argentina. So essentially, we would be getting to the round of 16, and then that's it.
Possibly. Hey,
that's all we got.
Football's a funny old game, where you could get 11 men behind the ball and be a ball draw and just get to penalties, and you got the penalty king between the sticks, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Andrew Redmayne, he and his dancing moves sent us to the World Cup. We nickname him the Grey Wiggle because there's this TV show over here called The Wiggles that they do lots of funny dances and things like that. And so he was just doing a dance, and then he actually got to go on The Wiggles on the TV show and do the exact same thing. And as an Australian who grew up with The Wiggles, that was a very strange moment of seeing, oh, here's these older men. Here's Andrew Redmayne with his massive beard dancing with them. It's bizarre.
Okay, so let's get back into the turf here. So, some people, there are some Socceroos that are playing in the British game, and we might know of some of them. But from a Socceroo point of view yourself, who's the man that's going to get us off our seat with excitement? Who's got that wow factor?
Ooh. So, before he got injured, because it looks like he might not be able to play, I would have said Martin Boyle, who is the Scottish-born Australian right winger, plays for Hibs in Scotland. He's currently injured at the moment, and we're looking at getting in a replacement if he can't recover in time. So then, apart from that, I think I'm going to have to say Geraint Quol, because this is a 17-year-old kid who plays for Central Coast Mariners and has already with Newcastle in January. And has only played like a handful of games, but he comes off the bench and he scored 2 on the weekend, including one from basically 90-degree angle on the goal and puts it top corner. Like, this kid can change games. And so if we're getting a bit tired, or if the other team's getting a bit tired, we bring on Quol, and that's just the X factor, the weirdness or the injection into the game that you need. And Australia have a couple of players like that. So I think that's where Australia's always been really technically good and fitness-wise really, really good. We have a fantastic staff in that regard. But if we keep our fitness and we're fitter than the other teams, and then we bring in players like that, that's where we could cause some damage if we really tried.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing some of these young guns who will be taking over the reins perhaps from some other folks. But of course, you are taking on La France, of course, in the opening game. They've littered with stars. They've got the bling to prove it. But what's your major concern from the defending champions?
Oh, their attack. 100%. Like, I looked through, and they don't have Pogba, and there's a few players missing, and so I looked through their defense and their midfield, and it's okay. Yeah, there's some younger players, still fantastic world-class players, but not as much experience. Probably a lot of their first World Cups, and then just up the front, you have Griezmann and Mbappe who are dangerous, and then Giroud and Benzema, and I know Nkunku just got injured, but like, France have a plethora of ridiculous attackers who can just damage you at any moment. And I feel like if we don't really focus on our defending and keep them out, we can lose the game really early on. Like, if it could be 2-0 within 20 minutes, and then that's it, game over. We're not coming back into that.
Yeah, they are quite an envious attacking lineup they have there. So with your hat on here, of course, heading into the World Cup, you've been given the keys to pick the 11. What's the 11 that's going to be opening it up for Australia and Qatar?
All right. So Matty Ryan in goal. He's our captain. And I've just felt that's the obvious choice. Up the back is interesting for Australia because we've left out one of our most experienced defenders, Trent Sainsbury, and we've got in a player like Harry Suter, who's fantastic. He's 6'6", he plays for Stoke, but he's been injured the whole year. And he's only played 2 games back for Stoke now, and so we've included him. But because he's massive, he's great at corners, I'd go Suter and I would say Nils Dejanek as the 2 central pair. You've got Aziz Bayic on the left. I'd probably go with Fran Karacic on the right. Then you have a midfield 3, so a 4-3-3. That's how Australia works best. And you've got Irvine and Moy as your holding midfielders, and then Aiden Hrustic as your attacking midfielder. On the right, if he's fit, I'd have Boyle. On the left, I'd have Awema Bill, who plays for Cadiz. And then at striker, there's this guy who's Jason Cummings, who, once again, Scottish-born. We have Scottish-born Australians. And he plays for Central Coast Mariners, and all I can say is he's just a character. He has tattoos all over his body. He's such a funny guy off the pitch, but then on the pitch, he's really hungry for goals. So I'd probably start him up there.
All right, sounds good, and yeah, gives me reason to wear my Scottish shirt. So I'll be cheering on them lads for the Socceroos.
Yeah.
So there is another game going on in Group D around about the same day. It's Denmark up against Tunisia. Again, with your Australia hat on, what do you want to happen in that game? But what do you think will happen in that game?
I think any game that we don't play, I think you kind of want to draw. Until it gets to the final match and you're sort of seeing how things line up. I think if either Denmark or Tunisia draw, and then we play Tunisia and France play Denmark, and we get a win and France get a win, that's probably a great result for us. If not, maybe Tunisia to upset Denmark, so that therefore Denmark have got it all to play for at the end. But you never really know when it's out of your hands. It's just you get given the cards that you're given and have to deal with it.
All right. Okay, but now the important question. If I have to push you for a scoreline for Australia up against France in opening game, what would you go for?
See, last World Cup, we lost 2-1. We got a Mile Jedinak penalty. But that's the thing. Our last 3 goals in 4 World Cup games have been Mile Jedinak penalties. We haven't scored a goal from open play. I feel like France is not a team we'll be able to do that against. I feel like a final scoreline of 2-0 to France.
Okay. Well, it's very honest of you. Very honest of you. Well, thanks again for your time, Connor. You've been a superstar. Of course, if you want to be like Connor, come on the show, the phone in, World Cup Daily. Happening from November the 20th. You could be on the show with me, chatting all things football, all things World Cup, all things Rovers, if you like. Live right here on YouTube. Of course, if you're new to the area, of course, to the scene, smash your thumbs up, smash your subscribe. We'll go again daily, of course, with content, cat prediction. We got it all here. It's an insane amount of content. We're just bleeding. We're not bleeding blue and white. Well, we are bleeding blue and white. Well, we're bleeding World Cup content. It's coming at you all over the place. Make sure you subscribe, thumbs up, hit the little bell when we go again very, very soon.